have been discussing this with the CBN, with the Bank of Industry and so on. I said, we do not have problem giving you money, but we have problem knowing who to give the money. Are they already indebted? Because to the banking system, especially the CBN, once you are indebted and you have not repaid your loan, they are very, very reluctant to give you additional loan. That is why in the data capture we are going to do, we'll be capturing, members' BVN as well, so that they might. So in short, back before the moderator says, I should stop, the technology will be useful for capturing the data of cooperative members. It will be useful for capturing the type of businesses they are into. What is your capacity? Some people, what the society yesterday told me, they need about 50 billion. But we have to be able to assess, can they handle 50 billion naira and so on. So by the time we use technology to get all this data, we'll be able to know what actually they can do and in which way they can contribute to the growth of Nigeria's economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for him. Apologies for bringing you on board without notice. But when I looked at the list and I saw the Federal Director of Cooperative, there is no way a panel session will be going on and you'll be in the audience, because there are regulatory issues, there are policy issues that will probably come up during this discussion, and there will be nobody else to do justice to that other than your person. So apologies if I caught you unawares there, but I'm sure even your opening speech has inspired a lot of things and given us a clue into a few things that are already ongoing. I will speak to the issue of data and how some cooperative have already, they've done everything you've mentioned just now. I know cooperatives who are already like 10 steps ahead when it comes to their KYC, when it comes to validating loans from members, when it comes to knowing, the various strata of members or the demography of their members. I'm sure we'll have time to get into the issue of data and as it relates to cooperative and what the body can take from that. But I want to move to Mr. Mohammed S. Bello, the Executive Director of Cooperative and Labor Education, also the Chairman of CRASoN Junior. Just 60 seconds, leveraging technology for cooperative. What's your take?
Well, thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's a pleasure to participate in a forum like this. For somebody who has been in the cooperative arena, a key player for the past 40 years, one cannot but look back.
That's before I was born.
Oh, really? Look back into the 80s when cooperative activities were purely analog. Analog in the sense that we see ourselves physically to do cooperatives. And then that was when the law came into effect. The law that lays the ground rules for cooperative up to today is as old as that era. And that is why it's a pity. My directors are here. I'm retired but not tired. A large number of cooperative directors are not willing to register cooperative societies that did not fall into that particular category of analog operations. Even now that things have gone so innovative. That is why, for instance, we have an Institute of Cooperative Professionals of Nigeria. No director is willing to register it, and yet it must be registered. The law specifically says that any cooperative organization or any organization with the word cooperative cannot be registered by the CAC. Yet, the directors of cooperatives are not ready to register. So, for us, when we are talking about the upgrading of the cooperative, the regulations, and by that same token, the regulators who implement these regulations needs to be upgraded. Not all, in these days, cooperative society has gone beyond the point of physical hands-to-mouth operations. For instance, the law specifically says the cooperative cannot do business. A lot of businesses with non-members. The federal director is talking about the CBN giving loans to the cooperatives. What stopped the cooperative from sourcing the loan from private sectors? Given the fact that Nigerians believe any loan, I want to use the word capital for loan. Any loan you take from government is supposed to be part of the national cake, and they don't get paid back. And that is what is impacting now, that the CBNs and some banks are saying, no, they are not going to give loans to cooperatives again. Look at what happened in the Better Life and all the rest. Were the money recovered? If they are recovered, then where are they? We shouldn't be talking about loan. Billions and billions of naira we have voted there. If this money has been put back into the system, the cooperative will have been growing large and large. But today, interacting in the world, the World Wide Web has made the world smaller, smarter. But are the cooperative as smart as that? We are not trying to get smarter. So I'm here talking regulation from a regulator. At least I've been a regulator for quite a long time, and I know that we still have a long way to go. The director talks about data. There's no way we can plan without data. And I think it was the MC who talked about the figures being put about by the national statistics of people who are still in multi-dimensional poverty. How do they get their figures? Do we really know how many we are in Nigeria? How many of this population are in cooperatives? Quite a number of people are millionaires in one way or the other, but they were never captured. For you, for instance, to have a piece of land in most cities in Nigeria, you are a millionaire. Now you are saying we are poor. How many of us are really poor? So these are some of the issues we have to tackle. And there is no way you can look at the cooperatives without looking at the individual homes, at the individual participation. A large number of these people became millionaire through taking loans from the cooperative, through using the resources of the cooperatives. But are they giving that much back to the cooperatives? These are some of the things we need to do as time goes on.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for him. There's going to be a little interjection in the session. We have in our midst the Executive Director of Alpha Morgan Capital. I'd like to invite her to just give a very brief remark before she leaves. This is on health ground, so kindly bear with us. Put your hands together for Adedoyin Ayaye here as she comes on to give her brief remark.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Apologies for my late start. My name is Doyin Anyehe. I'm a little ill, so I'm going back to the hospital from here, but this was very important for me to show up. And I'd like to first thank the Director of Cooperatives, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and stand on existing protocol. I'll just tell you a brief about us, Alpha Morgan Capital, and one of the reasons why we decided to sponsor this event. Alpha Morgan Capital is a licensed asset management company, licensed in 2012 and regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Our main service is to provide fund management products to the Nigerian populace, and our business in 10 years have grown to also include investment banking, where we provide transaction advisory to corporate entities and state governments. We also have a stock trading arm, subsidiary within the group, MBSL Securities. In our 10-year journey, we have been internationally recognized just this year by the Financial Times London as one of Africa's fastest growing companies. We were ranked 4th in the financial sector, 7th in Nigeria, and 22nd in Africa. We're also, thank you. We're also a rated entity because in the financial world, it's very important to deal with entities that are rated, because the rating looks at the strength of your organizations, your ability to meet your obligations, your service, a whole number of parameters. And so we're rated triple B by Augusto & Co., which is the foremost rating agency in Nigeria. And then in terms of our service providing, we provide services to, of course, a lot of individuals, corporates, state governments, and cooperatives. In our books, we have a number of multinational and oil and gas cooperatives that we render service to in terms of fund management and loans and things like that. And so one of the reasons why we decided to do this is because we wanted to put ourselves before you and lend our suite of products and services to the cooperatives in Abuja. You know, sit down with you and see how we can work together in terms of, you know, money management, loans, and things like that. And so we're very happy to be here. And I'm glad that we're given this opportunity to speak to you. And so on behalf of my Group Managing Director, Adil Buraimo, the board and management of Alpha Morgan Capital, I'd like to say thank you very much. Okay, even though I just told you my name is Dwayne Anyehe. I'm the Executive Director in charge of Global Wealth, and I supervise Abuja and the North. Our head office is in Lagos. We're situated in Lagos. However, we have a branch office here in Abuja. It's located on the 5th floor of Rivers House, directly opposite the Ministry of Finance in Central area. And so after this, we have a desk outside, and I welcome, you know, everyone to, you know, engage with us there. Let's talk about what we can do together, what we can do for you, and how you can reach us. Yes, so that's basically it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can do better with that chair placement. Put your hands together for her. I was just told while she was making her speech that we have Pastor Wale Adedoku in the house, Chairman, Chief Executive, Global Attitude Business Concerns Limited. May I invite him to the stage? Please put your hands together for him. Put your hands together for him. Please usher him here. Louder, louder, louder. Make it lively, please. Thank you very much. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. Now, we're just taking, you know, the intros, and I want to thank Mr. Bello for his own session. I'll quickly go to the delectable madam from my jurisdiction, Lagos, Mrs. Topo Oluwashio. Sikai. I was trying to make sure I'm not mispronouncing it. It's all right. What's your take? Technology and cooperative.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Once again, there's no way you can have cooperative, that's my own belief, without technology. You see, cooperative to me has moved from the era of analog. If you really want to do an effective job, if you really want to satisfy your customers, because I'm speaking from the angle of societies. I've been blessed to be president of one of the mega society in Lagos State, and when I assumed office as the president, I saw it that it was pertinent that we should go digital. We want to satisfy a yearning group of corporators that want to know what you are doing with their fund, They want to know how much they are contributing. They want to have access to it in terms of checking on what they have. They want to know what you are using their money for. So you have no choice but to go digital. And in the present Nigeria we are in today, everybody needs money. And when they need it at the drop of a hat. So you should be able to satisfy those customers of yours, which are corporators, at the drop of a hat. So going digital in cooperative is not something we should be thinking, okay, it's coming. It is here. You've just discussed that you've taken cooperative to another level of having it on a digital platform. There are societies now that give out their loans digitally. They have a wide spread of cooperatives around the world. They have cooperators in Germany, and they are located in Nigeria, here in Lagos. Over there in Lagos, yes, over there in Lagos. Okay, this year is Abuja. Yes, you're right. Over there in Lagos, it's Lagos. That's where everything happens. Over there in Lagos, and you have them all have their members all over the world. If they don't go digital, how do they satisfy them? And they have to put out their brand to the world. So they have to have websites. They have to let people know that I'm available, I'm selling this, I'm providing these services. Let me give you an example. My society was able to collaborate with a Canadian society that are medical. My society is purely medical. We have the medical people in there. So we were able to collaborate with them regarding information exchange, because we have a clinic now, we call it Cook Clinic, where we have our retired members taking care of the clinic. All the knowledge sort of that we gained, we tapped it from them. How did they get to know us? Through our website. So going digital is a thing in COP now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now you touched on something that I'm sure Mr. Tama is going to answer. You talked about members from all over the world. But I remember in a session I had with Dr. Tama, he broke down cooperative membership to 3 levels, if I remember correctly. It will interest you to know that when he speaks, I take note, I write. I consider him an encyclopedia when it comes to cooperative matters. He broke down cooperative into 3 cadre. He talked about is it the local government now or the ward level? Then he talked about the state, and then he talked about the national. And this is where registration of cooperative society members takes place. Now, when you go digital, there is no way you can stay within the confines of those 3 levels. As a matter of fact, the moment you go digital, you have broken those 3 levels completely. So cooperative and technology, what is your take, sir?
Thank you very much. I'm quite delighted to be here. Even as the National Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria, CFAN, has been implementing digital cooperative for more than 7 years now. For me, if we talk about technology in cooperative, it has segments. If we are talking about technology for the regulatory body, it's different from technology for the cooperative. And it's different from technology for members of the cooperative to interact with their cooperative. Then you also talk about technology for members of the public to interact with the cooperative. But unfortunately, the movement has gone beyond the regulatory body. And most of the time, the regulatory body thinks that they don't look at the cooperative as business. They think that anything you want to do, you have to come to the regulatory body. But I tell you that for close to 6-7 years now, I have been on the National Financial Inclusion Strategy Committee of the Central Bank, up to the point that we have to chair one of the committee, which is on products. And these products, there are 5 in number. Like when the person from Alpha Morgan came here, I likened their product to capital market products. Because I was the chairman of the product committee for financial inclusion in Central Bank for over 2.5 years. And we are looking at it that how can cooperative feature in the capital markets? And what they are doing, if we don't explain it, some people may not even understand what's supposed to be their role in cooperative. We are talking about inclusivity. We are talking about how can the poor people move and become focal and access support. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that we can't do without technology. Good enough, when Engineer Akintoye was the Director of Cooperatives, Federal Director of Cooperatives, we were able to launch the Unified Cooperative Platform in conjunction with the CWG PLC. And today we have over 200 and something cooperatives nationwide that are using it. Not just keeping their records in a way that once members make their contributions, they get alerts. And when they want to ask for loan, they go through that procedure. And if they want to view, to know whether their money is still in the cooperative, they use their app. So today, it becomes very easy and it gives confidence to the mind. Just because if you go to the bank today and put money and you come home and you don't see alert, you start calling your accounts officer. So once you can view your cooperative, it gives you confidence that the cooperative is still alive. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that we cannot do without cooperative. Particularly now, the central bank has given a role to cooperative through CFAN. We have about 4 pages within the new National Financial Inclusion Strategy at the central bank. And by next week, we are bringing it up live with the central bank. And what are we talking about? These products that we have, how do we get it across to the people? We can only get it across to the people through technology. And with technology, the regulator can even view down to the grassroots. So it is inevitable. It's something that we cannot do without. And if we must achieve progress, if we are not going to be useless, because time will come, people will no longer be interested in cooperative if there is no technology. I was embarrassed in Kenya in 2015. I went to meet with the Irish League, Cooperative League Foundation. They were to come to Nigeria and assist us. But behold, they asked me, where can we find CFAN? As at that time, CFAN were nowhere to be found. And the agbada I took to Kenya became very heavy for me. And that was why I have to come back immediately. And with the support of the Federal Department of Cooperative, because we brought in the central bank, the interbank settlement system, the director, Akintola, graciously gave approval. And behold, in 2016, we were able to launch it. And up to today, it's coming up. And when I met Mr. Dada, I told him, we are not going to restrict technology. There are various technologies available within the space. The more, the merrier. The fact is that if more technology developers come into the cooperative space, the technologies will become more cheaper. Because as at the time we started with the UCP, we're talking about 250,000 per annum per cooperative. And the central bank say, for where? As I speak with you today, with 50,000 naira, your cooperative can use that platform for 1 year. If your member base is between 1 to 100, it graduates, and the ultimate is 250,000 naira. We are not paying any other additional charges to it. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that technology is inevitable if we don't want to fizzle out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, the interesting thing about technology is that the entry cost keeps going down. And so that is why you discover that in the 60s, the computer that they used in going to the moon, the mainframe computer system that processed all the data that transported them to the moon, had only 512 kilobyte capacity of data. But the phones that we use today, if they give you a phone of 8 gig, you will be asking, what am I going to do with this? It therefore translates to the fact that if you have a phone in your pocket today, you probably have a computer that is more powerful than the one that took them to the moon. But the question is, what is your cooperative doing with that computer in your pocket? I'll go to our next speaker. And in 60 seconds, we're also going to take his own opinion about cooperative and technology. I'm talking about Honorable Olumoko Funsho. Thank you very much. In 60 seconds, sir.
Yeah, I'm Jerome Oloye. I represent Honorable Olumoko, who is unavoidably absent. The words have been spoken. I just want to underscore some of the key points that have been made. You know, the compere was talking in the opening address that he was mentioning piggy bank, how the olden days people were doing their things here and there, but things have moved far away from that. You know, like the speaker before me said, deductions, contributions can be made from your phone. You can transfer money to your account. You get the alert. You network. Even from phone, you can call meetings. I think the chairman and the founder said it in the morning that we don't all have to gather here. You know, as we are here, some people are online listening to us, and we are still going to take their lectures when time permits. So those are kind of the application of technology that we are talking about. So the fact that if a cooperative want to organize a meeting, for example, if society want to organize their meeting, and they say, this person will be in Lagos, this one will be in Maiduguri, this one will be in Port Harcourt, they will not have time. That one does not. It doesn't get with us now. Anywhere you are, we organize the meeting. You make your opinion further, and and the cooperative moves ahead. So without technology, we can't do the right thing. But when we have it, I'm telling you, the cooperative can do well. Increase. In fact, with the deployment of social media advertisement here and there, most of these adverts can be placed on them, and more members can be accessed, so that the cooperative society body will continue to grow from strength to strength. So the only way to go is for cooperative society to embrace the current technology and the oncoming one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, he made mention, put your hands together for him for that insightful contribution. He talked about online meeting. This has to do with how the cooperative is managed. How do we meet? How do we congregate? I mean, like he rightly said, we have people who are joining us online right now in this. It will interest you to know that last year there were 3.3 trillion Zoom meetings worldwide. 3.3 trillion meetings held online in 1 year. And that figure is going up. By the end of this year, it's going to be almost double that. But I will not take it away from the next speaker. Technology, leadership, cooperative. Pastor Wale Adedoku, what's your take, sir? In 60 seconds.
Thank you. All protocols observed. The issue of technology is our leadership. There's no one how anyone could exist without digital execution. And digital execution reflects to the way technology improve our processes. For example, now, UBA, I'm a staff of UBA, and I have 35 uninterrupted service. For us, there is only one bank. When you go to any branch of UBA, it's one shop. It doesn't matter whether you lodge your money in Abuja or anything. The same thing we want to implement into cooperative. Members are all over the places. Apart from being a society member that resides in Lagos State, if I also reside in Abuja, we should be able to interface with each other. So digitalization is a good way to go out. There's nothing we can do in cooperative without digitalizing our processes. By the time you can even access your account online, real time, as you are lodging your money, you know exactly what percentage of money you can take as a loan. As you are lodging your money, you know how much you can invest into one of the projects that society are gathering together. And at the same time, the financial report management information system is also online. It's not something that when the regulators come and you have to wait for maybe 3 or 4, 5 weeks before the report is being issued. It's digital education, nobody can manipulate it. And we give people's confidence about your activities day in, day out. So we have no other hiding place than to go digitalize in cooperative. No other hiding place. And that's the best way for us to be able to showcase and demonstrate competence within our members, within the leadership, within the compliance group, the ministry, that they bump into you and do a spot check and say Mr. So is not available. There is no need for handing over. There is no need for you to call anybody anywhere you are. Before the advent of COVID, we are already, just like the last person spoke about the Zoom meeting. Initially, we work from home, and when that program was about implementing, then in my organization, lots of us fear the fear of retrenchment. That if I cannot go to office, I can work from home. Maybe after 2 or 3 months or 1 year, they will ask me to stay back. And that is exactly what happened when COVID had it. We have just about 35 of the workforce that are present in the office at then, while almost 55 were at home, working from home. And the management were able to decide and arrive at the conclusion that this set of people are not needed if this can be done. And the way out, just like I said, the digitalization of our processes, cooperative, leadership, and technology. We two of them cannot work without the digitalization and technology in our processes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The technical guys, can they hear us now? They can hear us. Francesca, can you hear me? Francesca, if you can hear me, put on your video and your mic. We'd like to come over to you. Please let Francesca know that we'll be waiting for her. Now, before we go on to the guys joining us online, our last speaker just spoke about the reason for us to inevitably be online. But I want to talk about external source of funding, and that is going to be taken by Dr. Atama. One of the issues that plague cooperative when it comes to funding is lack of accountability, rising from not having adequate record. All right. At DT-Coup, if you want our balance sheet as at now, I don't need to call the accountant. I don't need to call anybody. Right from my phone, from my tablet, right now, I can generate our balance sheet as at now. And if another transaction goes on, I can regenerate based on that transaction now. All of us here, we've talked about the inevitability of going online. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Everything you've talked about is still based on Web 2 that is going out right now. There is a new technology, innovative technology that is taking over. It's called Web 3. And that is where your blockchain and all those levels of security will come in. There is no way we talk about cooperative without transparency. There is no way you talk about transparency in technology and you will not mention blockchain. Dr. Tama, how can cooperative leverage technology for accountability when it comes to external source of funds for the cooperative?
Thank you, Mr. Atama, not Dr. Atama.
All right.
When we talk about external sources of funds, because cooperative has two sources of funds. Internal. That fund internal you can give it as low as possible because the members did not give you the money at any cost of funds. Then, if you want to go external, you are taking money from those who have funds at a cost of funds, because each bank get money from their customer at a cost of fund, and they will have to manage it and make good returns. So that is the difference between the two sources of funds available for the cooperative, because a lot of cooperatives will complain that they will want money to come to them at single digits. But I just want to let them know that it is not possible at single digit externally, except the central bank and other development finance institutions. So I also want to let us know that any cooperative that is set up principally to access external fund is a beggars club, because cooperatives is a taboo, like in the East Africa, for a cooperative to be set up principally to look for central bank money. That cooperative is a beggars club, and that cooperative will never get money. The reason is because central bank has a checklist. Development finance institutions have a checklist for you to access money. And what it means is that once the cooperative is formed, the cooperative have to sell shares, the cooperative have to receive regular contributions from their members, keep good record, get external audit, independent audit concerning what they are doing, then they cannot apply. So what it means is that if you are to get external audit, it means that it should have existed for more than 1 year before you'll be able to access funding of that nature through the cooperative. So I just want to make that very clear to the cooperative. Then we have a sort of relationship with the World Bank under the Lighting African project, and there was something they asked us to do, what they call readiness to access finance. We need to be ready before we access finance. And how we are going to be ready is that we have to be properly set up. Most cooperatives are registered without even a bylaw, and that bylaw is what will tell you how the cooperative is operated. So first of all, you have to be properly registered with a certificate and bylaw. You need to run your cooperative based on global best practice. Your executives need to be elected. They need to honor the tenure arrangement in cooperative. You need to make sure that your books are properly kept and it is a going concern. Then, before you apply for this external fund, there must be a resolution of the House mandating the executives to apply for funds, which is a requirement either at the central bank or any of the organizations giving loan. Then, having done that, then they will also want to know who and who is applying for loan. Cooperatives no longer go to institutions and say, we want 1 billion, and they will give you. They will tell you that you should give them the list of those who need this money. And you should also give them the bank account of those people who need this money. Because experience have shown that most cooperative executives, once they access money in the name of the cooperative, they don't disburse accordingly. So most of the time, they will also ask you to submit. So you see that what the cooperative stands in is just like an intermediary, helping the members to access the funds and then helping to recover this money and pay back. Except for where the cooperative have a global project that they want to institute that will be like a service that will be servicing all the members, or a sort of business center they want to set up. But still, the funding institution will require the commitment of all the members to make sure that if the chips are down, they know that it is a global guarantee given to them in that respect.
How does technology help in this process?
So how technology will help now is that, one, like what we discussed with the central bank under the unified cooperative platform. If a cooperative under the unified cooperative platform want to access loan from the central bank don't need them to go and put their documents together and take to central bank. What they need them to do is for us to give the central bank a 24 hours password to enable them check the cooperative. After 24 hours, they can no longer check the cooperative. So one, it saves the cooperative that trouble of say, let us go and prepare this, prepare that, because they can be checked online, they can be verified online and know how things are done. Then how it also helps is that it will help the members not to take their time to start looking for the cooperative office to go and pick form or what have you. With the app they have, they should be able to apply for the loan from wherever they are. Even getting the guarantor, like in the case of the UCP now, if I appoint you today as my guarantor, the system will send a message to you to accept it. If you don't accept it, the loan will not move further. Once you accept, it will now come back to the secretariat and it will be moved to the credit committee. The credit committee will do it. Once the credit committee agree on it, the president will now, through technology, also instruct the treasurer to raise the payment instrument, and the two of them will, before you know, the person have the money. So what we are trying to say is that external funding now that we are looking at, most of them are technologically driven, like the COVID loan. Most people could not get the COVID loan because they say apply online, and we are not technology savvy people, okay? Except for some cooperatives that I know that their executives have to collate the information and apply on their behalf. Is that not? So the earlier we start imbibing this technology in serving our people credit-wise, if not very soon, we will be locked out of the system. So it is very imperative that we imbibe technology credit-wise.
Thank you very much, sir. Francisca, can you hear us now? All right. Before we move on, I would like to say here that for those of us who are in the audience, you have the opportunity to also ask questions or chip in one or two things. And so if you would like to do that, you can talk to the compiler of this.
Thank you very much. I just want to read out some things to you, and I have just 60 seconds, and you'll be able to tell me if those people have balanced mental health or not. Afolake Abiola on May 27th, 2022, about 6 months ago, drank pesticide in her apartment in Lekki. She was a successful accountant, a high flyer, a go girl, always active. That's our case number 1. Case number 2, Olatoye Bangoye was stopped on 5th of April 2022 from jumping into the lagoon, Third Bendam Bridge. She's 21 years old. She was 21 years old, although later she killed herself. So that's why I'm using was. She was 21 years old, active, and it was her birthday, the day she killed herself. Olalekon Odunare Tew drank sniper because he had no money. A 34-year-old man was brought into the emergency after taking sniper because he was denied a loan. A 48-year-old man wanted to hang himself, was saved at the nick of time because he was accused wrongly. I want to ask you, do they have balanced mental health? Yes or no? Okay, so what is mental health? Let me quote it according to WHO. WHO says mental health, according to WHO 21, is defined as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her potentials, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully and is able to make contribution to his or her community. The cases I've described earlier, were they able to cope with the stresses of life? Were they able to be productive? Were they productive to their own community? So when you're talking about balancing mental health in cooperative, because I know we have leaders here. When you are denying somebody loan, think of the mental health. How are you going to tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you this loan, if they are not qualified for it? How do you relate with them? Are you the mini God in your cooperative? I say no, and I mean no. Do you have counseling section with them before you deny them the loan? When somebody comes to you and bang your door and bang your table, I want loan, I want loan. Do you ask your office workers to lock them out and take them out? Have you ever thought of what will happen to them after they leave your cooperative offices? Are they going to jump into lagoon because of you?
I'm sorry,
And
I have to be interjecting you because you're giving us some very thought-provoking questions. I'm coming back to you. About 2 weeks ago, about a week ago, I was in a vehicle with a mental health person. Not that the person has a case of mental health, I mean a specialist. Yeah. And it was on the street of Lagos, and someone drove in a particular way. And I said, why on earth would anybody drive like this? And he gave me a statistics that I doubt, and I want you to please corroborate. He said 87% of people that I see walking across the streets of Nigeria have mental issues. That's almost 90%. That means out of 10 people in this room, 9 people probably have mental health issues, and they do not know that they have mental health issues. Those who know that they have mental health issues or who are stressed, according to what you just read, probably will take to alcohol or maybe cigarettes or some substance to cope with the stress. You talked about people coming to your cooperative to ask for loan. They are not qualified, and only God knows what happens thereafter. Technology can help in that, in the sense that it will let you know whether you are even qualified for loan or not, and how much you are qualified for. And of course, the cooperative will make a provision for instant loan. Whether you are qualified or not, you can use that window to come apply. How can we cope effectively with mental health given the situation in the country today? 9 out of 10, almost 9 out of 10 are dealing with mental health issues. How can we realistically cope with that? And how can a cooperative help?
The first thing you need to do, or we need to do, is to be aware that the next person sitting to you is under as much stress as you are. That is looking out for each other. And when you do that, you know that I'm stressed, you are stressed, you give me some allowance. I'm using the layman's word, allowance. Give me the opportunity to demonstrate my 5-minute madness that we used to talk about. And when I'm demonstrating my 5 minutes madness, play along with me. Then when I'm through with my 5-minute madness, you let me realize what I've done. You say that 86% of Nigerians have mental issues. Yes and no, because we have different types of mental issues. There's some that we can cope with every day. There's some needs to be institutionalized. Majority of Nigerians have those that we don't need to institutionalize. And you see it on the streets of Lagos when there's somebody just drive past you as if he has gone cuckoos. Then you react like, oh no, you've just displayed your own 5 minutes of madness too. You understand? So, coping with stress look for your own way, healthy way of coping with stress. Taking alcohol, taking cigarettes is not an healthy way of coping with stress. Look for your own way of coping. Like if I'm stressed now, I'm using myself as an example. People around me knows I'll keep quiet. I won't talk to you. You understand? And then I will start tapping my leg and I'll start counting in my head. You just see me tapping my leg and looking at you. You say, I'm trying as much as possible to cope with my stress. Then I start playing games. You see me on my phone, I'll start playing games. Everybody knows around me knows me that I will not talk to you again. I'll be playing games. Toon Blast, all those. That is my own way.
Thank you.
So every individual, you must learn how to cope with yours in a healthy way. There are exercises, there are books that you can read, there are videos, healthy videos you can watch, there are breathing exercises you can do, there's tapping of legs, so many ways you can learn to go. Then cooperative can help you balance by there was this thing I started in my cooperative, like a counseling section. If I don't want to give you loan, I know you are not qualified, and you know you are not qualified, and you've come. Now they've called me at 1 a.m. My husband said, "Who is calling you at 1 a.m.?" I heard a man's voice. I said, "Yes, all my boyfriends are calling me." So I will talk to you. I'll tell them to let me see you. Then I'll talk to you. We'll start playing. Then I'll talk to you. Do you realize that you don't have that money? God will provide for you. Then by the time I leave you, my mother used to say that I will sell hell to you, and you want to go there.
Thank you.
So that's what I think we should learn to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people asking questions around mental health. How do I cope with mental health? There's what they call the soft ball. I use the pressure ball and I go on TikTok to watch comedy. Now let me go to Engineer Jubil Abubakar, maybe for the last time during this session, and I want to raise the issue of technology and innovation as it relates to regulation. Which one comes first? Is it innovation or regulation? And where innovation has gone ahead of regulation, how does the regulators balance that such that innovation is not thrown out in the name of regulation?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Number one, we should all know that we are all into this business together, the regulator and the players. The regulator is there to ensure that things are done right, so that somebody's activities will not harm the other person's activity. That is purely what the regulator is expected to do. And if for whatever reason innovation has moved ahead of regulation, the regulation must run and catch up. That is it. So I know one of the presenters alluded to such a thing, but I can assure him that the regulatory system in the country is not going to hold the sector down. If at any time we find out that maybe we are trying to hold them down unduly, you should be rest assured that we are going to adjust ourselves and we are going to move in sync. For example, all things being equal, we hope to have a stakeholders engagement even before the end of this year. And because we know there are issues such as the ones he has raised and which many others have raised, we want to come together to see how we are going to resolve issues and see that we are mutually reinforcing one another. We are not competing foes. We are cooperating allies. We want to ensure that cooperative contributes to solving Nigeria's economy. We want cooperative to help create jobs, create wealth, banish poverty, and so on. So, with respect to which one comes first, technology has been there in one form or the other a long time, just like regulation has been there. cooperative, sector, or the cooperative department was established initially in 1974. It was introduced into Nigeria in 1935, and since that right from 1935, when it was introduced, there had been some regulatory provisions. In the ordinance that established the cooperative system, and the same thing in 1974, the cooperative development decree 5 of 1974 also had but what I'm saying is that even as at that time there are innovations. Agreed, now innovation has moved very far, but the regulatory system will also cope. If we are not coping, let us know, and then we'll see how we work together so that we are not going to hold you back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So a round of applause. I'm very happy to hear that regulation will always catch up with innovation, and I really look forward to an era where innovation will not be stifled on the platform of regulation, because indeed that's the only way we can liberate the sector. Now, I think I have just 2 more panel speakers to comment on a few topics, and then we can call it a day as it relates to this, or maybe we'll turn the mic over to the participants to ask their questions and make their contributions. I want to go to Pastor Wale Adedokun, talking about the importance of managerial skills in the 21st century as it relates to cooperative. When I was doing a study of the cooperative that succeeded and the ones that failed, one thing that came up strongly in my study is the fact that the cooperative that failed based on leadership, failed based on the lack of structure. In the 21st century, leadership is dynamic and leadership has evolved in so many ways. Sir, as it relates to cooperative, what are the essentials for leadership in cooperative as we have it today, to see to the emerging of innovation, the emergence of technology, and how leadership can cope and refocus cooperatives?
Thank you, sir. The importance of managerial and leadership skill in the 21st century is very key and germane in this our current dispensation, in the sense that leadership focus on role, while manager focus on functions. And it is very key that you cannot have just 50% skill as a leadership, as a leader of an organization, of an entity, without having other support skill to carry out. Leaders are expected to put all their employees together with a view to achieve the goals of the organizations and the objectives, while managers put them together for them to achieve them. Leaders in this position must influence, inspire, and also keep their members and drive them, while managers may make them to work on day-to-day activities, and that those activities are effectively executed. Managerial skill and leadership skill in the 20th century is for somebody that is spiritually motivated. You should be spiritually motivated in the sense that you should be able to identify somebody that can take over from you, somebody that have the capacity, somebody that have the ideology of that organization. Every regime is like 20 meters marathon race, and when you start this marathon race, you must have put down a lot of policy, agitate it together with your fellow executive, and this policy that we put down will take you maybe 1 or 2 regime to execute. And when a new person comes, somebody does not have that capacity, somebody does not believe in that philosophy, that policy comes in, some a race that is already 10 kilometers, the person will start all over again. And that's exactly what we currently have all over, both in the government, private, and public sector, even private organization. It will start all over again. So the key is that we should have that skill to be able to inspire, key to be able to problem solving, analytical skill that will be able to solve something just at the top. And that's why also technology comes in, because you must have done a lot of research, a lot of tests on that your system that is so robust that for everything that everybody has, your skill is like a dividend of democracy to your members. What you are able to achieve during the time you are there. People comes and convert in your consumer shop all over the world, all over the state. But you have done a system that is e-cooperative at the comfort of their home, just like Jumia, just like Konga. They can eat the consumer shop, and their goods are delivered at their doorstep. And that is why this current dispensation, managerial skill and leadership skill, they must go all hand in hand. And you must not hand over to a body that is a lagger. You must be able to identify that person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for Pastor Wale Oladoku. Now, I'm going to wrap up from my end here and then turn over the mic to you, the audience. But I have a question from someone in the audience here, and I'm going to direct this to Mr. Atama and able engineer Jubber Abubakar here. He said, my name is Adiza Bagudu, Secretary, Women Share Butter Processor Industrial Cooperative Society Limited. And the questions are as follows. Can cooperative apply for grants the way NGO apply for grants too? That is one. Then the second question says, please, as a starter, I want to know what is the difference between a cooperative and an NGO. And the last question from this person says, can a cooperative be changed legally to an NGO? Mr. Tama.
So which one is for me?
All of them. You can attempt all of them.
Okay. People talk about grants. Cooperatives can apply for grants, but getting grant shouldn't be the aim of a cooperative, because getting grant, once it becomes the aim of a cooperative, once the grant doesn't come, that means the end of that cooperative. And for me, like what we are doing with the central bank under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Fund, before you can earn a grant, you might have repaid the loan 2 times. The third time, when you are getting more loans, then it comes with a grant of 5 million to thank you for doing well. So for us, at the National Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria, CFAN, we felt that grants are meant for achievers. If you have not achieved anything and you want to come and collect grant, you might not even have the profile, may not have the CV to get that grant. But cooperatives can actually apply for grants. Then the second question is talking about
A starter wants to know the difference between cooperative and NGO.
Yes, an NGO is not registered by the cooperative department. An NGO is registered by the CAC. And according to the law, what applies at the CAC registration does not apply with a cooperative. So right from day one, you will know that cooperative is not an NGO. One woman misapplied it in 2013 and she went for remand at the Suleja prison. She was running an NGO and started collecting savings from her people and started giving them loan, and something happened and they went to court, and the judge told the woman that you can only take savings and give loan if you are a cooperative. It's only banks that can do that from public people. But apart from the banks, it is the cooperatives that are legitimately allowed to take savings from their members and give loans to their members. So NGOs operate under a different law from the law cooperatives operate, and NGOs are not meant to take savings and give loans as cooperative do. So, but today some NGOs have registered cooperative. The reason is because as they run NGO, most of their activities are like advocacy, skill acquisition, and all whatnot. And then I say, okay, if we are doing this, we also need to have an economic wing, whereby if we have resources and we give to our members, they should be able to save and they should be able to also access a facility. Why did they register cooperative? Because they know that the NGO is not a cooperative. The two of them operate under two different laws.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
The last question, I will direct this to Engineer Jibril. He said, can a cooperative be changed legally to an NGO?
Okay, thank you very much. An NGO can register as a cooperative, because just like Mr. Atama said, cooperatives stand for particular purpose. Like the international definition of a cooperative is that when a group of people come together to address their shared aspiration or problem, and set up an enterprise to address that aspiration, then they become a cooperative. For example, if we have problem of getting water to drink on a regular basis in our community, we can decide to set up a cooperative, water production cooperative. So, and then that means set up an enterprise. That enterprise is called a cooperative. That is after we have gone to get it registered at the appropriate place. So like Mr. Atama said, NGOs have their own conditions for regulation, for registration and so on. Cooperatives also have their own conditions. For example, the other time somebody was trying to talk about levels of cooperative. Was it our MC and so on, that cooperatives are at different levels. We have primary cooperatives, we have cooperative union, that is secondary cooperative, we have the tertiary cooperatives and so on. So it is the primary cooperatives that get together at the local government headquarters level to form union, and unions at the state headquarters level come together to form apexes. Then we can also have national apex apexes of different states, and all of these have their conditions for registration. I'm sure like the state directors here will tell us that for you to form a cooperative, number one, you need to identify a common problem and so on, and then they register you. But for a national cooperative, you have to get registration certificates of cooperative from at least 5 geopolitical zones before we at the headquarters can register you as a national cooperative. So essentially there are different conditions and for registration, this different regulation and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. A round of applause for that answer. Okay, please.
With respect to whether an NGO can transform to a cooperative, because if you look at the bylaw of the cooperative, if a cooperative want to maybe set up another entity that is not cooperative, what it means that the law governing that entity that is not cooperative will apply. Take for example, like now, if Sifan is setting up an eatery, what it means that Sifan have to move from the cooperative status and obtain a certification for E3. Is that not? And what it means that the tax law will now apply. Is that not?
Not to the cooperative,
Not to the cooperative.
to the new organization.
But if CFAN says, okay, we want to close CFAN and want to become an NGO, what it means that the director will have to apply the law and close CFAN. And then the members of CFAN can go their way and go and set up whatever they want to set up. But one thing we should know always is that if you move away from cooperative and do any other business, the law that applies in that domain will apply on you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for that answer. And this is the very last. We have just 2 minutes. You want to ask a question? Okay, please. Can we pass the mic?
Thank you, everybody. Yes, it's interesting, but I just want to add summarily that a cooperative is an NGO, but an NGO is not a cooperative. Or, in another way, a cooperative can be an NGO depending on the purpose for which it is established. But an NGO that is registered as an NGO cannot be a cooperative unless it is dissolved and become a cooperative. Thank you.
Quite tricky there, but subject of, you can debate that from now till tomorrow. The debate, we cannot do that debate today, sir.
Excuse me. If you want to extend that, you see, an NGO is more or less trying to help other people. It is part of the function of a cooperative. Some really.
Okay, no debates, we are now cleared. Thank you. Okay. From
Just
this
a
one
minute.
thing, we enter something
Just
else.
a minute, please.
Okay, we want to clarify that, right?
I'm here
Okay.
to moderate.
Okay.
And so I'll use my power as a moderator. I'll use it judiciously. So I will hold on to the mic as I close. Okay. By the way, that's the provost of the cooperative college. Okay. So he's talking from a point of.
Excuse me, you see, there is a level of knowledge, is that not? And I know that in 2008, we were to travel out of the country, and we were given note verbal. And the classification that was given to us was that cooperative is an NGO. What is the meaning of an NGO? It's a non-governmental. But what we are saying here now is that we are trying to classify whether NGO do cooperative work or cooperative is an NGO, you know, for the purpose of clarity, so that somebody will not go home today and say the provost say cooperative and NGO, and you start collecting money and start giving loan, and you go to prison like that woman in Suleja. My hand no day. Thank you.
I believe it is clear. All right. Okay.
Yeah, the regulations now, to wrap up, most of the things we are doing technologically are not recognized by the regulations, the law in existence. But we have to thank the magnanimity of the directors for allowing certain things. It was because Mr. Atama mentioned the woman that went to jail. I also work for Cooperative Society in Lagos. A group of cooperative are organizing next week a workshop on cooperative law. And one is surprised that the laws stipulated terms of jail terms for cooperators in the law, and a fine of as much as 250,000 naira for a simple offense. One of the offenses is that you must reside in the area where the cooperative society is before you become a member. If not, you go to jail for 6 months and pay a fine of about between 150,000 and 250,000 naira. You can see, and we are talking about technology. taking us to here and there. Are we not contravening that regulations? I hope we will not cooperate to go to jail. So what we need to do is, yes, whatever innovation like the federal director mentioned, we should allow the regulation to catch up quickly with the technologies and the innovation going on in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for the panelists. A round of applause for the panelists. I'm sure we've thrown up more topics here than time will allow us to permit, but unfortunately we have to shut down. If you will, please, may I ask all the panelists to please stand up for a group photograph. Put your hands together for them. Where are the photographers?
All right, let's appreciate them one more time for the photo ops, and we'll take a few announcements while that is going on. Someone actually asked a question on insurance, and that wasn't answered. She has beckoned on me and said that should be done, but again, we can do a one-on-one after now. We're having brunch, that's breakfast that has metamorphosed into lunch in the snacks that we're taking. We apologize for that. And then lunch is already being served at the other part of the table. So as we wrap up, we're just going to pick it up and then go back to our hotel rooms, eat, relax a bit, and at 4 o'clock we converge again. This time around we'll be using the Colonnade Hall. You might want to ask around before we go. The Colonnade Hall, still inside this building, but not here, because there'll be a concert that we'll be holding here after now. So we are going to be coming back again to the Nicon Luxury Hotel at 4 p.m. for the awards at the Colonnade Hall. Also note that we want you to take pictures and tag us on social media. We're talking about technology and how this can go far. The hashtag is COOP Symposium and hashtag COOP Awards 2022. Please take pictures and tag. We might be selecting the best pictures during the award and dinner for some prize you never can tell. So please do well. Yes, an all expense paid trip. This time around, not to your hotel room, somewhere that will shock you. Oh, cool. Yes. Yes. Okay, I'm giving you an expo. Whoever asks the insurance question has the insurance man here. So he says, meet him anywhere and he'll give you the answer. So we're not done. Let's network. But before then, we're going to call on Mr. Oyegoke for the vote of thanks. Engineer Akintoye Akintola, as the chairman, CRASoN Advisory Board, will be giving us the vote of thanks, after which we'll take our lunch from that side of the table, of the hall, and then we'll network, and it will be a wrap for today. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful, but I'm not doing your job, sir. You might want to come up, or you want to stand there. You want to do that? Okay, cool. Just a vote of thanks, and on behalf of CRASoN.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the CRASoN and all the organizers of this great event, I would like to say a big thank you to all our invited guests and dignitaries for this session. Special thanks to our panel members for giving us fresh insights, and I do know that most of us that have attended have gotten some fresh leads into how to move ahead. Please give us your time today. It's going to be refreshing. Even our food is refreshing. Every aspect of the program today will be very refreshing. It's going to be bang in the evening. Please be there. Special welcome to those people who are joining or experiencing this program for the first time. It gets bigger and better every year. This is the 4th one. From next year, it will be supersonic. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for sparing your time. I cannot mention your names one by one, but just we say thank you for coming and for your time. See you later in the afternoon. Thank you.
Please, for all media interviews, you could go that way and take your interviews, take your questions, take your pictures, so we can document them very properly. The organizer have asked that I, in a very special way, appreciate the presence of the Ikeja Cooperative Multipurpose Union, Mr. Tella Badegeshi. Also the Shomolu MCU HO Jamu Lawal, thank you very much. Etiosa MCU Prince Aderoku Akinpelu Goriola. Also the Edo State Cooperative Federation Comrade Filani Ojo, and UBTH Staff Cooperative Benin City. In a special way also President NUT LIB Cooperatives Ms. Oyekon Oluwatoyin, and also the UBA Staff Co-President Mr. Laja Shorunke. Thank you very much for your time, and it's been a wonderful session. It's my third time with the Cooperative Rating and Award Society Symposium and dinner. And as always, it gets bigger and better, like the executives say. My name is Louisa Olani. I go by the stage name MC Louis. I'm a broadcast journalist and also a proud Iyawo.